Like I'm thinking of a dancer who already knows all the steps. When you know the steps, you can just dance and express. So I already know how to paint. So because I'm so fluent with the paint, this is my language, I can just express through my paint. My work comes from my own life, whatever that is, but it's not my everyday life, it's the life of my heart, of my spirit. That's the part of my life that comes onto the canvas. My name is Judy Singer, and I've been a professional artist since my first exhibit in 1974, and I'm grateful that I've been able to do this for my life's work. I was very fortunate. The 70s, 80s, and 90s in Toronto especially was a very active art scene here. There was a big community and all the artists knew each other, and there were a lot of galleries and a lot of collectors collecting art in those days. I describe my art as, well, first of all, it's abstract. It doesn't define an object, but I think it's about a feeling, and it's all feeling, and it's about what a painting does. It's not about what it means. I mean, I hope it has some meaning, but the meaning, I think, comes from what you feel through the art, what I'm transmitting. And that's, well, I'd be writing about it if I could write about it. It's painted, though, it's visual. Yeah. When people come to see my work, my hope is that they feel uplifted, inspired, they feel some joy and beauty, for sure, to bring some beauty into somebody's life. Yeah. Teaching at York University really affected my creative process because I had to really understand art and what I was teaching. And the more I taught it, the more it got embedded in me on how to create something really, really special. So it was pivotal for me to teach. And I also do love teaching and sharing what I know. My creative process from start to finish starts actually before I start painting. It usually starts a few days before I start a painting. It's like it feels like it's cooking inside me. And then I know that, let's say, that day I have nothing to do, that's my studio day. And that's when I come into the studio, and whatever's been cooking inside, I get into kind of like a trance-like state, and then it's just gone. I have to work very fast because the paint is wet, and it actually starts drying as soon as you put it on the canvas. So I work very quickly. There's no mind involved in it at all. It's all very intuitive and very spontaneous. You have to react to the painting as it's evolving. Part of the process is the before and the during and then the after. It doesn't just end with the painting, because the painting changes as it dries. And the next day I've had some distance from it, so I can put it up on the wall and I look at it, and I could look at it for weeks till something happens in me where I think maybe this isn't a good painting, or it is a good painting. I add little touches here and there. So it's quite a long process, even though the painting time may be just 3 or 4 hours. I choose my colors totally intuitively. I have no preconceived idea. I just open all my paints and I start choosing, and I don't know why. I have no clue. It just comes from a deep part of myself, and I just do it intuitively. There's no rhyme or reason, again, to how I choose colors. And anyway, color is my most favorite thing in a painting. I love color. And I think I've quoted Matisse before, who says, color is magnificence and eye-catching. And I love Matisse's color. Yes, love it. One of the techniques I use when I paint is to wet the canvas. And I learned this technique from Helen Frankenthaler, who is one of the greatest artists of abstract expressionism. And she was one of the first artists who did not work on a primed canvas. She would stain her canvas, meaning the paint went right into the fabric of the canvas. And I was drawn to that technique, and that's the technique that I still use to this day. I think most people don't understand how important the edges are of a painting. Hans Hofmann said that the first mark that you put on a canvas is already the fifth, which alludes to the fact that these edges are so important and an integral part of the composition. So I think a lot of people don't understand that how important the edges are in a composition. So after a while, after I'm working on a certain series, I've done a lot of paintings, and I edit them very carefully. I actually throw out in the garbage half of what I do. And I do have artist friends, one in particular who I went to school with at York, who comes over and she helps me critique my work. It's very hard for me to see my own work. So I rely on feedback from trusted people to help me edit it. But I do throw out a lot because I can't work over it. It's a one-shot thing that happens. If it doesn't work out, it gets tossed. So it's a very heavy editing process. This particular series that I'm showing, I named Prisma. And I called it Prisma because, well, it's kind of funny. In my dining room in my home, we have a crystal chandelier that hangs over the dining room table, and it reflects into the window in the dining room, and I sit opposite that window. And at night, when the chandelier is lit, if I move my head back and forth, I see all these little colors come up, different colors from the prisms. And I love them, and I wanted to capture that feeling of the prisms in my work. So I'm sitting in this studio, which I am completely grateful to have. When we first moved to this house, we were newly married, and the studio where I was in, the guy was selling the building, and I had to find another studio. Well, I'm very grateful that Henry had the foresight, Henry's my husband, to create this studio for me. He insisted on it. I said, no, I'll go rent a studio, but he said, no, you have to have a studio. He just knew I needed a studio. It's a wonderful gift. I mean, we were newly married. Who knew if we were going to stay married? Here we are married, 38, almost 39 years. And you had the foresight to build this wonderful gift that I have. Because what's an artist without a studio, right? I'm so grateful to have. And it's great to be in a place where I've totally forgotten about my everyday life, physicality, any of that. It's just a total creative place. That's what it is. Yeah. A lot of people ask me, what does your painting mean? And truthfully, I really can't tell them what it means. I think more importantly, it's what the painting does and how it makes you feel. Meaning is something we project onto something. And I hope that there's meaning in my painting, but I don't think that's the most important thing. Is the painting resolved? Does it hold together? Does it inspire feelings in you? Those are the most important things about a painting, not what it means, because truthfully, I don't know what it means. Matisse said that art, good art, is like sitting in a comfortable armchair. It's like a respite from your everyday life. Yeah, it inspires your humanity in yourself. So, and feelings, yeah. And beauty. There you go.